A major update for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to be talking about the recent update for Lonzo Ball and what this means for Lonzo Ball and the rest of the Chicago Bulls as they head into preseason basketball. We're also going to be talking about some things to watch for as the Chicago Bulls get ready to take on the Memphis Grizzlies in Game 2 of the preseason. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so first, we are going to go into a huge Lonzo Ball injury update before we go into some things to watch out for before the Chicago Bulls take on the Memphis Grizzlies. And so let's jump into what Lonzo Ball has been doing and what the recent injury update is for him. And so as we bring it up, Lonzo Ball has been practicing. He's been ramping up. It looks like he's been doing very well in practices. In fact, it looks like he's being a lot more aggressive out there, and there has been no major setbacks. However, we were anticipating that we might see Lonzo Ball at this home preseason game against the Memphis Grizzlies coming up, but it looks like he is not going to be playing in this particular game, and he might be missing the next one as well. In fact, when we look at what he had to say on his podcast, he talks about the fact that he is going to be sitting at least for 2 preseason games, maybe a third, but he is looking to possibly be out there for the last 2 preseason games, which means that the Chicago Bulls fans will get a chance to see him at home against either the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Minnesota Timberwolves. So both of those games are going to be at home to close out the preseason. So this is a good update because, you know, he is coming back, and this is actually a historical comeback because nobody has ever come back from this type of surgery, and we're definitely rooting for him. And even if he is not going to be an impact for the Chicago Bulls as far as winning games this year, I think that this is huge for his career, and I'm really rooting for the fact that hopefully he does get a chance to get to a winning situation and maybe eventually win a championship, whether it's with the Chicago Bulls, which is not likely, but more so maybe with another team. I've talked about the fact that he could turn into a Sean Livingston type of player, and I definitely think he can. So with that being said, we're going to talk about how this really helps the Chicago Bulls. It definitely helps Lonzo Ball as he continues to ramp up. But for the Chicago Bulls, the one thing that we talked about just about a video ago was just what was going on with Billy Donovan and just this log jam of guards, talking about how he can't play everybody and how there's not enough minutes. Well, with Lonzo Ball sitting out this upcoming preseason game, this gives the Chicago Bulls a chance to really evaluate some more of these young players, especially Ayo Dosunmu, who played very well off the bench. I think that he gets a chance to be a little bit more of a leader, and we get a chance to see, you know, does he step in and does he make an impact on this game? I think that, you know, he made a huge impact in the last game against the Cavs, and I think him, along with several other players that came off the bench like DalenTerry, Julian Phillips, Matas Buzelis, even Jalen Smith, I think that they really changed the course of the basketball game. And I think that if they come off the bench and they play well in extended minutes, I think it does put some pressure onto Billy Donovan and really what he was talking about going into the preseason, because he was talking about he's not just going to throw younger players out there and just give them 30 minutes a game, and he talked about how they were going to have to go out there and earn it. And it looks like these young players have put in the work, and it certainly looks like that they're going out here and they are showing that they earn the minutes and they are looking to play some serious minutes in the season. And so, you know, one of the things that Billy Donovan talked about after the Chicago Bulls beat the Cleveland Cavaliers was something that really we've talked about throughout the offseason and what was going to be a challenge for the Bulls, and that's defensively, right? He talked about the defense, and he also talked about the offense did not look very good. Josh Giddey went ahead and echoed a lot of what Billy Donovan had to say, and this is huge because Lonzo is going to be sitting out for the preseason, and I know it is preseason, but like I was saying, this is where you get a chance to really evaluate some more of Ayo Dosunmu, who I think is going to take a huge jump this year. And then also to DalenTerry, who looked pretty good in his minutes. And then also to Julian Phillips, even though he's going to be more probably a forward, he is going to play a little bit of guard forward. But then also to you have more minutes to disperse to a Matas Buzelis and stuff like that. So you get a chance to take a look here. And I would have to say that if they bring that defensive presence out there, it is certainly going to make Billy Donovan think a little bit more as they get ready to go into the season, as they continue to ramp up through the preseason about that starting lineup. Because if you have players that are able to play defense and they're also able to play offense as well, they have that well-rounded game, then it's also going to make you think that, hey, maybe these players should be out there. So I'm curious to see, are they going to put a little bit more pressure on Billy Donovan and having to make this decision? Because I think that we do have some players that are going to address what he had to say after the game. And so as we shift focus now, I want to take a look at some players that we want to take a look at against the Memphis Grizzlies, players that I think we should be watching for. And let's start with Julian Phillips. I think that, Julian Phillips has really looked good. He's looked aggressive in his time out in the first game, and I think he looked pretty aggressive to me in the summer league, and I think that is going to continue. I see a player that has a lot of confidence. I loved the chemistry that he had with Matas Buzelis out there, running the break, getting the lob. I think we're going to see just how versatile he is as a player. And I think that we are really going to see, why he is probably going to be a foundational piece for this team, along with DalenTerry as well. I've talked about how he's put in the work with DeMar DeRozan. The game seems like it has slowed down for DalenTerry, and this is a prime opportunity for him to get out there and get some minutes with Lonzo sitting out another game. So this gives us more chance, to go ahead and evaluate him and take a look at him. So I think that is going to be critical. Next up with Patrick Willams, I think that, Patrick Willams got off to a very slow start, and it is no big secret that Matas Buzelis came in and played extremely well. He's probably going to be the player that I think pushes Patrick Willams in this starting lineup. And, I'm hoping that Patrick Willams can definitely start to get on the right track. It looks like for sure, perhaps he might have been rusty, but there is really the chance that he might be showing us exactly just the type of player that he is going to be. One of the things that has been mentioned out there, courtesy to CHGO Podcast who put this out there, but it is the no excuse tour for Patrick Willams. And I think that is true for Patrick Willams. He doesn't have anybody in the way. It's his opportunity to really go out there and make it happen as a player. And look, you have to go get it at some point. And I think that this is what we're going to be looking for from Patrick Willams in game 2 of the preseason. Yes, I know it's the preseason, but we still want to see him be aggressive. We want to see him use his handle, get to the rim, definitely not dribble off the leg, but also to just be aggressive on the offense and the defensive end. There were times he definitely looked lost out there. So hopefully that does change. And so next up, the next thing that we want to look for is Matas Buzelis. Is he for real? I think he is. He's shown us so far in Summer League. He's shown us so far in preseason. You're hearing about what he's doing in practice. I believe Ayo was talking about he might be one of the most athletic Bulls on the team. And he looks like he's been in the league already. And so I want to see if he gets matched up with Zach Edey at some point. Does he go after him on the offensive end? How does he approach him on the defensive end? I really want to see how he is going to really compete against the size of the Memphis Grizzlies. And does he, really impose his will on this game? So I'm looking forward to see if Matas Buzelis continues to take that step and put pressure on the starting lineup. And lastly here, looking at Kenny Lofton Jr., I think that I want to see a little bit more of him and Adama Sanogo. I think that, there is a real chance that if we do move on from Vooch, we're going to depend on those players. And so I want to see, is Kenny Lofton Jr. a player that can make it happen at the NBA level? I think between him and Sanogo, they have shown that they can do it in the Summer League. They've shown that they can do it in the G League. This is the time now, especially when you have a guard that you perhaps are going to use with Lonzo Ball. He's out. You have to give these minutes to these younger players. Let's see if he can go out there and he can bang with this team. Obviously, they're going to be coming in a much bigger team than the Chicago Bulls. So let's see, could he have the THT type of performance? The only way we find out is if we put him in the ball game. And so with that being said, let me know in the comments, what do you think about this recent news with Lonzo Ball? Do you think that this is good for the Chicago Bulls because we now have some more minutes where we can evaluate some of these players throughout the preseason? Let me know who you are most excited to see in this upcoming preseason game. And so with that being said, I just want to thank everybody out there for liking, subscribing, and sharing the content. It means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season starts. Make sure that you continue to slam dunk on that subscribe button for me. Want to let you know that about 64.2% of you that watch the videos are not subscribed, so please mash that subscribe button. And even though we are getting hyped once more for preseason basketball, and I don't care, I'm still saying go Bulls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.